Fun families. This week I'm sharing videos with our students regarding two different zones, starting with the blue zone and then talking about the red zone. Specifically, I'm talking about the emotions of sadness and anger. And the reason I chose those two is because right now our students are experiencing a lot of sadness and anger. It's actually part of the grief cycle. And even if they haven't lost someone that they love to COVID, they're still grieving a lot of loss. Loss of seeing their classmates every day, loss of seeing their teacher coming to school, of routine. We can relate to this. We're all feeling loss in some way during all of these changes. So I wanted to give them some tips and talk to them. So those are on the student mood page. But I wanted to talk to the families as well about working with our students and your children that are experiencing a lot of sadness and a lot of anger. So let's start with sadness in the blue zone. Our students are grieving. They are feeling a loss of control over their lives, and this can create a lot of sadness. So all of the articles that I posted on the family page reference the idea of talking it out with them, being able to say, hey, you seem really sad. If your child is abnormally, sleeping, for example, sleeping for long periods of hours, that's a good sign that you might want to talk to them about. Are you feeling sad? Other things obviously are tears, or they're getting tummy aches very often, more often than usual, or they're getting, rubbing their hearts, or, other things that show that they're probably feeling sad, like they're withdrawing themselves, not wanting to talk a lot. And so these are things to look out for and to start a dialogue about it. Something that all of the researchers say is to make them feel that it's okay that they're feeling these things, letting them know that it's okay that they're feeling more sad than usual, and talking to them about why they might be feeling that way, helping them to process that they've lost in the last few weeks a lot of their life and the normalcy of it. So making room for that conversation, that's one of the biggest pieces of it. Another piece of advice that researchers are giving out and scientists are talking about is giving facts, talking to them about the facts of everything that's going on so that they can process that along with their feelings, and ask them if they have any questions. Making room for that dialogue is especially important during this time. The second zone I wanted to talk to you about is the red zone. So specifically anger. Anger is something that I am hearing a lot of our little friends are dealing with right now. Anger is actually a secondary emotion. It comes from typically the feelings of sadness or fear. And right now they're probably feeling some of both. If they're hearing constantly talk about a virus and a pandemic and things aren't safe, they can feel unsafe and they can be fearful. They're also feeling sadness, as we just talked about. So the next emotion would be anger. Think of it this way. I wake up one day and I'm sad that I can't see my students at school. If I don't treat that sadness or process it, by afternoon, I'm, barking orders at my husband and just feeling all out of sorts. And maybe now it's moved to anger. The same thing happens for our kiddos. So I'm going to read you 10 tips and go through them with you that the researchers and scientists say can be helpful for de-escalating behavior that comes from anger. Be empathetic and non-judgmental. So not judging their feelings when they're feeling very angry, letting them know, you seem angry. Leaving it there, non-judgmental. Respecting their personal space. So when a child or really anyone is escalated and very angry, one of the things that would be the worst thing to do is to come into their personal space, because they're in that fight or flight mode, so they're going to feel like they have to protect themselves. Standing 1.5 to about 3 feet away from the person can be helpful, giving them some space. Using non-threatening verbals. So the less words, the better, is what this means. So if our child is very angry and seems a bit out of control, the worst thing we could do is to continue to just talk at them. Well, if you do this and all of a sudden we've thrown 300 words at them. So we can check our facial expression for being threatening or angry or surprised. And then we can use the fewest amount of words possible. So let's talk. Just breathe. Things will be okay. We are okay, right? Using very, very minimal words in a calm tone of voice, because that also speaks to feeling non-threatened. Avoid overreacting. This speaks to a lot of what we've already talked about, being calm, making rational statements. Focus on their feelings. So facts are definitely important, like we've talked about, but how are they feeling in the heart of the matter? And it's okay to just say back to them, you're feeling really angry. You're feeling angry. I'm here. And just waiting for them to kind of calm down. Ignore challenging questions. So this means when they challenge you. So when our littles are so angry, they want to engage in that back and forth because that helps them to feel like they're protecting themselves. So they might ask you a question back that challenges you. Well, redirect their attention to the issue. Tell them again, you are angry. We can talk. I'm here. And they try to challenge you again. You're angry. Let's calm down. Just redirecting them back to that place. It helps not to shift that power dynamic to them now fighting with you. Setting limits, being clear and simple, and giving them choices and consequences. So you can say, if they're very out of control, you might say, we can talk in 10 minutes, but I won't be talked to like that. Or you can breathe and calm down, or you can calm down in your room. Giving them some choices and some control over the matter that are acceptable can be helpful. Number 9 is allowing silence for reflection. This goes back to not saying too many words at them because their brain won't compute it at the time. They're in a fight or flight place. So when you give them some choices, then allowing for some silence. Or when you say to them, you're really angry, and waiting for their response, giving them some space to process, some chance to reflect on what you're saying. And number 10, allow time for decisions. So if you do give them choices, give them time to process what you've said. When we're really angry, it takes us extra time to think about what the choice we want to make is. If they're clearly upset, then they're not going to think right away. So if you give them the choice of, we can talk here, or we can talk on the couch. You can take a few breaths here, or you can go relax in your room till you're ready to talk. Then give them a few minutes, a few seconds, some time just to process what you've said. So I hope that you find this helpful. These are definitely some of the things that we use within the school system that I wanted to share with you at home, because along with a lot of anger comes a lot of difficult behavior, defiant behavior, out of control behavior. So hopefully some of these tips were helpful. These tips are actually also on the Brevard Public Schools website that's linked on the page. So if you would like time to read through them, they're on there as well. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out. My number and email are on here. We are a team. I'm wearing my One Team, One Dream shirt today, and I mean it. So anything you need, reach out. All right. Thank you, Fairglen families. Be well, stay safe.